The Ten Commandments. In the desolate and ancient expanses surrounding the foreboding silhouette of Mount Sinai, the Israelites, once a scattered and downtrodden tribe, discovered within themselves an uncanny vigor that defied comprehension. Their resounding victory over the Amalekites was not the mere result of sharpened skills in battle, but, it was whispered, a direct consequence of an otherworldly gift. The manna, a celestial substance which seemed to rain down from the very stars, was believed to be the distilled essence of the defeated Egyptian gods. Consuming such an ethereal bounty, they found, brought not only sustenance but also unsettling transformations. Some among the tribe began to exhibit bizarre abilities, from eyes that glowed in the moonless night to voices that could bend the will of others, or hands that radiated an eerie cold. This newfound power, though a boon in battle, also sowed seeds of apprehension among the Israelites. While the tribe had been elevated beyond their most audacious dreams, they now viewed each other with a mix of awe and terror. The once familiar faces of kin now held the potential for unfathomable power and unpredictability. Whispers and murmurs filled the camp each night. Though all felt an intangible pull towards Mount Sinai, a place where it seemed answers and perhaps even salvation awaited, fear held many in its icy grip. The mountain's dark silhouette against the starlit sky seemed to throb with arcane energy, a nexus of ancient powers and cosmic mysteries. And so, in hushed gatherings beneath the vast desert sky, they reached a consensus. While the entirety of the tribe felt the allure of the mountain and the ineffable presence of Yahweh beckoning them to a prophesied communion, they also felt a deep-seated dread. In their apprehension, they chose Moses, their venerable leader, to ascend the mountain alone, to face whatever primordial truths awaited, and to negotiate their place in this strange new world order. With a heavy heart and a destiny yet unclear, Moses began his solitary trek towards the enigmatic heart of Sinai. The vast desert plains fell behind as Moses, driven by a force beyond mortal comprehension, set forth on his ascent of Mount Sinai. The mountain's craggy visage seemed to pulsate in the dimming light, casting an otherworldly glow that stretched across the horizon. With each step, the very atmosphere around him seemed to thicken, becoming charged with a palpable energy that prickled at his senses and sent shivers down his spine. Shadows, darker than the blackest night, and seemingly with a life of their own, danced and darted at the edges of his vision. Each fleeting glimpse seemed as if it might belong to some ancient, forgotten creature that once roamed these lands. Whispers, borne on the winds that swept the mountainside, reached his ears in tongues long lost to time, their tones carrying a blend of warnings and beckonings that played upon his every fear and curiosity. As he trod the winding paths, the very ground beneath him betrayed its age-old secrets. Here and there, between the rocks and sands, strange and eldritch flora, unlike any found in the known realms, emerged from the crevices. Their twisted forms and eerie luminescence served as eerie guideposts, illuminating his path with an uncanny glow. The descriptions of such bizarre plants, mentioned only in forbidden tomes and whispered legends, seemed to spring to life before him. But what disturbed Moses the most were the ancient monoliths that began to emerge as he delved deeper into the mountain's embrace. These towering stones, worn by countless eons, were covered in indecipherable runes that seemed alive in their own right. Among these strange symbols, distinct markings depicted a great ancient flood, its waves crashing over lands and civilizations, hinting at cataclysms of yore. Whenever Moses tried to focus on them, the markings would shift and squirm, defying comprehension and evoking a dizzying sensation in the pit of his stomach. They stood as testament to the mountain's age and its role as a gateway between the realms, a nexus where the energies of the cosmos converged and intertwined. As Moses ventured further, phantasmal figures began to phase in and out of existence. Humanoid but unmistakably fish-like, These spectral entities seemed to be of another dimension altogether. They donned cloaks of colors so vibrant and multifaceted that the human eye struggled to comprehend, shifting and shimmering in hues beyond the earthly spectrum. Seemingly unaware or indifferent to Moses' presence, they floated, caught between dimensions, their otherworldly murmurs barely discernible. With each breath and step, the boundary between the world of man and the unfathomable beyond seemed to blur. The weight of countless ages and unseen presences pressed down upon Moses. But driven by divine purpose and an inexorable pull, he continued his ascent into the heart of the unknown. The veil of mist that had engulfed the peak of Mount Sinai seemed a living entity unto itself. Every wisp and tendril seemed to move with intent, cocooning the summit in an otherworldly shroud. Moses, having traversed the haunting and surreal landscapes below, now found himself amidst a fog so dense, so eerily still, that even the very air he breathed felt imbued with ancient secrets. For what felt like eons, silence reigned. Time itself seemed to warp and twist, leaving Moses adrift in an infinite expanse of white. But slowly, the opalescent fog began to recede, unraveling before him not to reveal a tangible landscape, but rather a presence of such overwhelming magnitude that it defied mortal comprehension. It was not a form or shape that stood before him, but an all-encompassing essence. The omnipotent aura of Yahweh surrounded and permeated everything, filling the space with a palpable energy that resonated with the very fabric of creation. Moses, though a chosen messenger of divine intent, found himself humbled to the core of his being, unable to lift his gaze directly upon this manifestation of the divine without feeling the edges of his sanity fray. Amidst this overpowering sensation, a burning desire took hold of Moses, a yearning to truly witness the entity that had chosen him. With a voice that quivered with both reverence and curiosity, he pleaded, "Lord, allow me to behold your full glory, to truly understand the being that has guided us thus far." A deep, resonating voice echoed through the ethereal mists, its tone as ancient as the cosmos itself. "Moses, man of flesh and blood, you seek that which cannot be granted. For to look upon my face is to embrace oblivion, to be consumed by the very essence of existence. Your mortal form would be naught but ash in the aftermath of such a revelation." From this unfathomable presence emerged beings of a celestial order, angels, though not of the gentle visage depicted in earthly tales. Their forms were a maelstrom of writhing tentacles, reminiscent of creatures birthed in the abysmal depths of the sea. Yet their movements were precise, purposeful, and eerily graceful. From the shimmering firmament they descended, their ethereal appendages moving with an artist's care to inscribe upon stone tablets the edicts that would bind humanity and the divine in a covenant eternal. Each commandment, as it was carved, seemed to resonate with a power that echoed across dimensions. The stone, though of the earth, was transformed, its very molecules vibrating with the weight of divine command. Moses, though dwarfed by the spectacle, could feel every word seeping into his consciousness, each edict intertwining with his very soul. And as the final commandment was etched into existence, the celestial beings, with a nod of acknowledgement, melded back into the ineffable presence from which they came. The mist once again began its encroaching dance, signaling the end of this divine rendezvous. But Moses, tablets in hand, was no longer the man who had begun that ascent. He was now a prophet bearing the weight of God's word, destined to guide his people into a new era. Amid the blistering desert, the Israelites' hearts grew heavy with the weight of uncertainty. With Moses' prolonged absence turning days into what felt like eons, the seeds of despair were sown. Whispers emerged, questioning if their trusted leader, their beacon, would ever return. Has he been consumed by the very power he sought to embrace? Has Yahweh abandoned us in these desolate wastes? In this cauldron of doubt and vulnerability, an ancient force stirred. Hathor, the vengeful Egyptian deity, saw an opening. The time for her revenge for the fall of Anubis at the hands of Yahweh and his devout had come. With malevolent precision, Hathor directed her seductive power towards the one she deemed most susceptible, the one closest to the absent Moses, Aaron. Aaron, racked by the responsibility thrust upon him in his brother's absence and burdened by the people's growing anxiety, became the ideal vessel for Hathor's manipulations. She visited him in visions, her voice dripping with honeyed promises and temptations. Aaron saw lush landscapes, felt the caress of cool waters, and heard melodious songs. And amidst these sensual wonders stood Hathor, her allure undeniable, offering power and guidance in exchange for loyalty. "Be my priest," she whispered, her voice echoing in the very recesses of his soul. "Lead your people back to the embrace of gods who do not forsake their followers." In his vulnerable state and yearning for a means to assuage the fears of his kin, Aaron was swayed. With the ancient deity's words etched into his mind, he proclaimed Hathor's message to the Israelites. "Yahweh may have forsaken us, but other powers, older and wiser, await our devotion." Urging them to bring forth their gold, he masterminded the creation of the golden calf, a tangible symbol of their new allegiance and a beacon of hope in their desolation. Yet as the idol rose, casting its shadow upon the sands, an uneasy feeling lingered. Aaron, though empowered by Hathor's promises, felt a pang of trepidation. Had they in their desperation awakened forces that even the most forbidden tomes dared not speak of? Would this act of defiance against their covenant bring salvation or doom? The harsh desert, a symbol of desolation and endurance, underwent a startling metamorphosis as the gathering took a turn towards the profane. As the luminescent eyes of the golden calf took in the throng of Israelites, an insatiable hunger emanated from its gleaming form, and the atmosphere became electrified with a heady mix of lust and violence. Aaron, swayed by the pull of Hathor's ancient majesty and wearing the ceremonial garb of her priest, took charge. With hands raised, he called forth the willing and the entranced to offer themselves to the calf, to lay down their very essence, a tribute to the cosmic forces that now hovered at the edge of reality. One by one, followers stepped forth, their blood willingly spilled upon an altar of hedonism and unrestrained passion. Every drop served as a beacon, drawing forth the lurking entities from the interstellar voids. The ground throbbed with the rhythm of drums and the pounding of feet, but also with the heartbeat of the universe. Ritualistic dances of wild abandon took form, a mingling of pleasure and pain, where lines blurred between the ecstasy of the flesh and the terror of the soul. The participants became both predator and prey, with some giving in to base desires and others becoming sacrificial lambs to appease the calf's unquenchable thirst. From the shadows, indescribable forms began to coalesce, stirred by the sanguinary offerings. These entities, older than time and indifferent to the concepts of good and evil, saw an opportunity to bridge the vast cosmic chasm and draw strength from the ritualistic fervor of the Israelites. With every spilled drop and ecstatic cry, they grew in power and substance, their nebulous forms solidifying, turning from mere spectators to active participants in the orgy of sensations. As the night wore on, the boundary between the world of the Israelites and the abominable cosmos grew perilously thin. The desert, once a testament to the quiet endurance of nature, now echoed with the dark symphony of a universe vast, indifferent and hungry. All the while, Aaron, the unwitting puppet of Hathor, presided over the escalating madness, pushing his people ever closer to the brink of oblivion. From the towering heights of Sinai, Moses' vision settled upon the grotesque tableau below. The golden calf, which at a distance might have seemed an innocent idol, now throbbed with a malevolent vitality under the starless sky. Its glistening form reflected the frenzied dances of the Israelites, who moved as though caught in some eldritch spell. Their voices, entwined in alien harmonies, birthed a discordant chant which bore no semblance to the hymns of Yahweh. The desert floor seemed to writhe in response to this cacophony, as if the very sands wished to distance themselves from the perversion before them. But from this maddening scene, a solitary group stood apart. The Levites, followers of a purer faith and loyal to the teachings of Moses, had remained hidden, their hearts heavy with dismay at the apostasy of their kin. Clasping the sacred tablets, etched by beings of celestial intent, Moses felt their profound weight. Not of stone, but of the overwhelming duty that now lay upon him. In a moment of despair and righteous fury, he cast them to the ground. Their shattering resonated not just in the physical realm, but echoed through the very fabrics of existence, a testament to a covenant broken. The din of the destruction snapped many of the revelers from their trance, their eyes reflecting the dawning horror of their actions. But for others, the pull of the abyss was too potent. They remained ensnared by the malefic energies that the calf exuded. Recognizing the dire need for swift action, Moses called upon the Levites, those who had not succumbed to Hathor's insidious whispers. These men, their essence entwined with that of Anubis, emerged from their concealment, shadows clinging to them as they wielded weapons of solemn purpose. With faces set in grim determination, they moved with deadly intent, meting out the dire consequences that apostasy warranted in this most desperate of hours. Blood soon stained the sands, each drop a lament for what had been lost and a plea for redemption. As the last cries faded beneath the uncaring expanse of the cosmos, a hush descended. It was the silence of realization, of a people who had glimpsed the unfathomable and now bore its indelible mark. The hope of salvation and renewal hung tenuously in the balance. In the aftermath of the profound reckoning, a heavy pall of silence hung over the desolation that was once a camp of celebration. It was an oppressive stillness, one that gnawed at the souls of the surviving Israelites. With each passing moment, the looming void threatened to consume the very essence of their spirit. Feeling the profound weight of his leadership and the responsibility of mending the shattered covenant, Moses once again found himself drawn to the eldritch majesty of Mount Sinai. The mountain, with its ancient monoliths and whispering winds, beckoned him to embark on yet another ascent into the realms of the unknown. As he journeyed upward, the familiar, eerie luminescence of the strange flora lit his path, and the undecipherable runes pulsed in rhythmic cadence, as if in anticipation of the revelations that lay ahead. The very fabric of reality seemed to thin, and the boundary between the earthly and the cosmic grew tenuous. At the peak, the celestial mist swirled, parting once more to reveal the overwhelming presence of Yahweh. The tentacled angels, those harbingers of divine will, hovered in attendance, their forms undulating in patterns that defied comprehension. Yahweh, through his ethereal intermediaries, revealed to Moses the blueprints of salvation, a means to harness and protect the divine energies of the cosmos. As Moses observed, the angels, with their innumerable tentacles, began to intricately weave and craft an artifact of immeasurable power, the Ark of the Covenant. This Ark was not merely a vessel, it was a convergence of divine intention and cosmic design. Crafted from materials both earthly and otherworldly, it radiated a soft glow, serving as a beacon against the shadows cast by Hathor's malevolent idolatry. Inside this sacred chest, a new set of tablets was placed, recreated commandments that bore the weight of renewed hope and the promise of a bond restored. The Ark was not only a symbol of Yahweh's presence, but also a bulwark against the chaotic energies that had threatened to sunder the very fabric of existence. Upon Moses' descent, the Ark was reverently placed at the center of the Israelite encampment. Its mere presence seemed to breathe life and purpose back into the despondent hearts of the people. The haunting memories of their transgressions, though never truly forgotten, were now juxtaposed with the promise of divine guidance and protection. As the moon cast its pale glow over the Sinai desert, the Ark stood as a testament to the Israelites' covenant with the ineffable, a beacon of hope, resilience, and an unyielding bond between the chosen people and the cosmic forces that guide their destiny. We hope you enjoyed this story. It would greatly help to support our creators if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, check out the playlist in the description. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you next time.